Hello beautiful people, April Mack here, going live for part 2 of my mini series, my masterclass series on receiving more money, more time and more soulmate clients, because who doesn't want all those things? I certainly want all those things. I want to receive more and more and more of all those things, and I'm assuming that if you're here watching, you do too. So hello to the beautiful people watching. Hello to anyone coming in on a replay, hashtag replay, you know the drill. Let me know you were here so that I can come back and comment and say hello to you, and please do leave any questions that you have if you're watching on replay. And if you guys watching would like to interact and ask questions as we go, please feel free. Most of you who are regulars to my lives will know that I will talk for quite a while, and then I'll come back and look at comments. So comment as it comes to you, and then I'll go back and have a look. And I do love the interaction. The interaction is fun for me, and hopefully it makes it a richer experience for all of you rather than just listening to me talk. I mean, you do have to listen to me talk if you're watching me on a live, because you guys can't talk, but you can certainly comment, and that's the best way to interact. So today's topic is very interesting. It is all about receiving more time, or sometimes I like to call it collapsing time, because I find that as a concept a very cool concept, and it's a lot of fun to think about our actual ability and power to collapse time. Because the thing about time is it is a bit of an illusion anyway. Like, it's not a real thing as such. And we could talk ad nauseum and all day and go round and round in circles about the philosophy of time. But it is an illusion, and the more we see it as that, the more fun we can have playing around with trying to collapse it, really make the most of it, and not be too caught up with thinking we don't have enough of it. Because that actually, as I was writing my notes for what I wanted to come on and talk about tonight, was so many of us, me included, our favourite excuse, one of our very favourites, is I don't have enough time. So I can't fit that in. No, that can't be done now. That will have to go to the bottom of the to-do list because I just don't have enough time. And it's a bloody awesome excuse, isn't it? Because we can totally buy into it. And I have, I'm a busy mum, I've got 2 kids, and I work and this and that, and I just don't have time to do the thing I'm here to do. But that doesn't have to be the narrative. We can actually change that, and it's really interesting once we start to open our mind up to that not necessarily being the truth of the matter. Then you will see that things actually become easier, and you'll find you have more time. So time won't change as such, but you will get more done in shorter spaces of time. And that's kind of what I mean by collapsing time. Just speaking of collapsing something, I just want to play a little bit with this. Can't see where the thing is to change the height. It'll do. Don't worry about it. You can all see me, can't you? So, look, lots of us say it a lot, and we use it. And the ego absolutely loves. It's a perfect excuse. It's a perfect excuse to get out of doing things. The thing is, the busiest people in the entire world, like people who run countries, they have the same amount of time as you and I. And yes, they might have help, but they get a lot of shit done. And there's so many different ways to get lots done. And so when I say collapsing time, there'll be parts of there's parts of it that are just practical things you can do, practical tips. So anyone who knows how I teach practical tips, as well as some of the more out there energetic aspects of how I see the world working, the laws of attraction, that sort of thing. So I teach about both. So we'll cover both off today. And, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and, questions. And if you don't agree with me, let me know. Tell me you don't agree. So where to start? Let's have a look. I've already said time's a bit of an illusion, and that it's really saying I don't have enough time is a limiting belief. You could look at it like that and catch yourself every time you say it. Just ask yourself, how true is it that I don't have enough time? Is it that I'm spinning my wheels actually? Or is it that I haven't accepted the help that's been offered to me? Or that I haven't asked for help? Is it actually true that I don't have enough time? Or is it that I don't have the skill and therefore I think I don't have enough time? Or am I afraid of what I'm wanting to do and therefore it's the perfect excuse to say I don't have enough time? So just catch yourself when you hear yourself saying it to yourself or to somebody else, just catch it and just say, is that the truth? Is that the absolute truth of the real reason why I'm saying I can't do X, Y, Z? Because I think you'll find that it's a little sneaky bugger that creeps in just to stop us doing what we're really here to do. And what we're really here to do is often a lot bigger than what our ego will want us to be doing, and therefore the ego will find all the little tricks to keep us playing small, to keep us doing the things that make us feel safe and in our comfort zone. And if it knows that you buy in really quickly to the limiting belief of not having enough time, then it'll just pull that one out of the bag. Easy peasy, gets you to stop doing what you're here to do. Next thing, let me have a look here. Capacity. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the tricks that I have used over the last, couple of years to really increase my capacity. And one of them is really identifying the things that I'm good at and the things I'm not so good at. And where there's something I'm not so good at, that's the thing that I can get stuck on and spinning my wheels on. If there's any way that if you resonate with that, there's things you don't like doing and that you're not particularly good at, ask yourself, can you quickly get better at it? And is it something you'd love to do to get better at it? And if not, can you outsource it to someone else? Can you ask for some help? Can you pay for some help? Is there some way you can take that thing off your plate altogether? Can you swap it with someone? So say you know someone who's really good at one thing and you're good at something else. Can you swap it over and give them, you give them your skill, they give you theirs, and then you're not wasting time spinning your wheels on something that doesn't make you happy and that isn't a good use of your time. So that's just a really easy technique to get more time back for the things that you are really good at. So that's one thing. The other thing is thinking about how you work well. Like what do you work? Most of us can't work solidly from 9 to 5. So we've been brought up in a corporate world where we often work the 9 to 5 and we're expected to just sit at our desks all day and be productive the entire day. When I realized that I do not operate well in that environment, and that was a real revelation for me, because I realized that I was so unproductive. If I was forced into that model, I was very unproductive and wasn't making the most of my time, because once I reached my capacity, I would just slow down, spin my wheels, rewrite stuff, not be able to get anywhere, and think to myself, then I would think, oh, I'm no good at this. I'm no good at this. It wasn't that at all. It's that the way that I work, and I would say this is the case for most people, and certainly the women that I work with, we work in little chunks, so we can do something really well for a period of time and then we need to change it up. So either shift onto another activity or just have a break, just have a short break. And if you don't do that naturally, you might even want to set a timer, just say a 25-minute timer. Give yourself 25 minutes to just really focus in on something and take all the distractions away. Then when the timer goes off, okay, I'm going to have a little break, let my mind have a break and do something different, or just at least have a tea break, get up, stretch your legs. These are the things that will help you really increase your capacity and be much more productive and make the most of time. So that's what I do, and I find that my energy stays a lot longer when I break it up like that. Sorry, I'm just going to turn that off. I forgot to do that beforehand. Sorry, guys. I don't know what you saw, but I stuffed around with something. So that's a great thing that I use. Working within the zone of genius, we've already talked about that. So really amplifying the things that you love doing and do well, and then trying to outsource the rest. The next thing is, and you will have heard me talk about this if you've seen me before, trusting in divine inspiration. I basically see all of my ideas as divinely inspired, and the quicker I allow that inspiration to come through and then action it, the best outcomes, result for me. That's what I've been finding to be the truth. So let the idea come in, get it out as quick as you possibly can, without worrying too much about perfection, because we don't need to be perfect. Sorry, I'm just looking over there because my mum's hovering around. Hope she's not watching me. It will really put me off if she is. So allowing ideas to come, and the quicker we action them, the more space we have for the next idea to come through. If you watched my live yesterday, I talked a bit about that. So if you're interested in that, go and have a look at that. And yesterday's session was all about having more money. Today's about more time, and tomorrow's is about more soulmate clients. So the next thing is I do work with energy. So again, if you were watching yesterday, when I talk about the energy work that you do around attracting more abundance and more money into your life, it's the same technique for attracting, well, not attracting more time, but really expanding time. It's kind of like seeing your life as easy already. Seeing, something I do with my partner, which is really fun, is when I'm starting to feel like I don't have enough time, he and I both start saying to each other, oh, I've got all the time in the world, I've got so much time. Oh my God, that can, we can do that because we've got all the time in the world. And just changing that narrative from going from scarcity, like, oh, I've got no time, to I've got all the time in the world, so much time, Just that little tweak makes me feel so much better. And you can have a bit of fun with it, especially if someone else is going to play along with you. And it honestly, saying that, believing that, and really asking the universe for that extra time, you will see, you'll feel less stress, and you'll feel like there is more time. This is what, I'm talking about when I say collapsing time. It actually seems to happen for me the more that I accept that time is not really a thing. Suddenly something will get done, and I can even look back over my work and say, I don't even remember doing that. I don't even remember writing that, because it will have just been done so incredibly quickly that I don't even remember the process of doing it. That's when I'm really tapped into taking divine wisdom in and actioning it. Things could just get pumped out like you wouldn't believe, and then you look back and go, what the hell? I don't even remember doing it. Does anyone else here? I'd love to hear if that happens for anyone else. Just really when you're in flow, people call this when you're in flow, that you just get so much done, and you can look back and just, it's almost like it wasn't you that did it. It's a wonderful thing. The next thing I've mentioned here on my list is giving up being perfect. This is such a big one, and I still struggle with it from time to time, but I feel like I'm mastering it now. That if we, try and get everything perfect, that is going to take up a shitload more time. And you've probably heard of the 80-20 rule. So get it 80% there, and then that's good enough. You will spend more time working on that final 20%, and that 20% isn't worth nearly as much. So just let it go. Practice letting things go out imperfectly, and just notice that it probably doesn't make a difference at all. And what might happen is it actually might make a surprisingly positive difference. So for me, getting on here, doing these lives, I could spend hours preparing and have all this stuff and have it all lined up and try and do a really perfect presentation. But I don't think you guys would be engaged with it. What I think people are liking about what I'm doing is that it is imperfect. It is very human. And you've seen some of my outtakes and bloopers. It's totally imperfect, and that's part of the attraction. So actually doing things imperfectly could be the perfect thing for your business. The next thing I wanted to talk about is using structure, but using it loosely. And this is where it's a little bit of a dance between, some people call this, the dance between the masculine and the feminine, or the yin and the yang. It's really about, so if I just allow myself to be just, totally unstructured, which is my natural state of being, and not put any structure around it, I think that would make me feel very wild and out of this world, and I don't feel like I'd get anything done. So I give myself enough structure to feel safe and to know where I'm headed, like a bit of a high level plan, but then I let myself swirl and dance and be creative and wild within that. So for example, I've planned out my launch for my upcoming program. It's called Receive. I'll tell you about it at the end for those who don't know about it. But my launch is like a 1.5 week launch. I know that I'm going to get on here and talk about something every single day, but I don't necessarily know what. So the structure is, April, you'll be doing these lives and you'll be doing a post every day, but I don't force myself in, well, it has to be on this topic and it has to be done at this time and all of that. These lives, yes, I did plan out the topics, but that was as far as it went. And then I let myself show up here and turn up with a few notes, but just allow myself to be creative and let what comes in come in. I don't stick too much to a plan. And that's been the magic for me. It makes me feel good. I feel energized when I work in that way. Whereas before I used to try and do everything in a structured way, get up at a certain time, do things in a particular way. Monday had to be the day that I did admin at 10 o'clock and whatever. That shit, that doesn't work for my goddess, for my feminine, for the feminine part of me that loves to be flowy and wild. So giving her a little bit of structure and a container to say, look, you're going to have to do some admin this week, but do it when you feel like you're in the mode to do it. So anyone who knows about soul modes, I'll do my admin when I'm in super mode, because that's when I feel good doing that stuff, but I won't force myself to do it at 10 o'clock on a Monday. Hopefully that makes sense. So that again is another technique for really using my time wisely. So, I'm calling it collapsing time. You can call it whatever you want. It might be just, practical steps to use your time wisely, but you'll find that your capacity and your creativity and all the things work really well when you give yourself the space to work in ways that feel really, really good for you. Final little thing I wanted to share, and then I'll have a look at your comments, is that if in doubt, I just surrender and trust that everything is as it should be. So this is kind of the hardest step for a lot of us, is surrendering to what is. So yes, if I run out of time, or I haven't achieved everything I had wanted to, then there's a part of me now that gets switched on. Like I'm really in the habit of switching on the part that just lets go of that. Any attachment I had to having to have something done in a particular time frame or in a particular way, the more evolved I get, I guess, the more I surrender and just go, do you know what? It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't the time for that. It's okay. I'm just going to allow that, instead of fighting it and wishing and regretting and all of those things. I allow a lot more surrender in my life, and I feel that by doing that and just knowing that things will happen in the divine time that they are supposed to happen, it's been a very freeing and uplifting kind of revelation for me, and it's changed the game. So I hope if you aren't doing that, just surrendering, then try and start doing that a little bit more. Just, let it go as much as possible. Okay, because really the final point about that is it's not really my plan. So I believe very strongly that everything I do is actually divinely inspired. So if it doesn't happen, then it was never meant to happen. I show up, I do the steps, I do the things that I feel called to do, and I really do take it seriously to deliver. But if it doesn't happen and it doesn't work out how I thought it should, then I just say, well, that wasn't the plan. And usually when I look back, the plan is perfect. It's just that I didn't know what the plan was. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, I'm just going to have a quick look at your comments here. Hello, hello. I want all those things too. Yes, Tracy wants the 3, the money, the time, and the soulmate clients. Hello, hello. Perfection, good old perfection. I'm not seeing many comments, which might mean that I'm either not seeing them because you're not making them, or sometimes my phone doesn't show me all the comments. So if that's the case, if it's just not showing me, then I will come back after the live and have a look and respond. So if you've asked me something here or left a comment, apologies that I'm not responding live. Now I do want to leave on just letting you know about my program Receive. If you've already heard this and you don't need to hear it again, then please feel free to leave. You don't need to stick around. And even if no one's watching, I'm still going to talk about it because that is what I do, because people do come back and watch on replay, and there will be someone that doesn't know about Receive that needs to know about it. So I'm going to talk about it, but please do feel free to drop off if you've already heard it. So here goes. Receive is my upcoming program. We start on we start on next Tuesday, the 20th of October. It runs for 5 weeks, and it's all about receiving more money, more time, what we've just talked about, and more soulmate clients. And I'll be working with a small group of people. Whoever signs up, we'll work together to really go deep on all of those aspects. We'll be talking about energetic principles and laws of attraction, as well as doing the more business, practical, strategic steps. So I'll be teaching everything that I've been learning over the past couple of years that have really helped me and my business get to the point where it's, I get to work part-time hours. I get to work around my family. I've got young children. I get to work from wherever. I'm here in Adelaide at the moment at my mum's house because a family member has passed away, so I can just pick up my business and be here and work around the needs of my family. And that for me, and earn really a great income. So that's what I want for other people. I want to share all the key elements that I've been, what have I been doing? Embodying and learning and using in my business that have made this possible. So there's a whole lot about launching. We'll be talking about how, if you've been watching me, I'm always launching something new. I'm always selling on here, but selling in a way that feels really aligned with my soul. So I'm happy to sit here and tell you about my latest offerings because I'm so proud of them, and I'm really proud of the pricing of everything I offer. I'm really proud of the value and the results that I get for people. So it's easy for me literally to sit here and deliver and talk about this. It was not always the case. A year or so ago, I would have cringed at the idea of having to sit here and tell you about a program. I would have died. I would have rather died than do it. Whereas now I love doing it. It's part of for me, it feels like a gift. So I'll be talking about all of that, teaching you how to feel that way. How to launch new services and products all the time to keep the energy behind them and to feel awesome about them. So a lot of what I teach and the way I teach, and when you work with me in my groups, there's a whole lot of spiritual kind of energy work that goes along with it. So I'm not an ordinary business coach. If that doesn't appeal to you, then you probably wouldn't want to hang out with me for 5 weeks. But if it does appeal and you're interested, then please go and check out my website. PM me if you want to have a quick chat to find out if it's for you. And on my website, the page to go to at the moment to get the details is aprilmac.com.au/receive. And receive is RECEIVE for those of you who remember that from school. E before I, before E, except after C. Yeah, so I'd love some of you to join me. It's going to be awesome. 5 weeks, really diving deep into how to get more money, more time, and more soulmate clients. And if you're around tomorrow, I'd love you to join my masterclass tomorrow, which is at 7 p.m. I think, 7 p.m. Which is all about the attracting soulmate clients. So I really want to give you a flat taste and the flavour of what we'll be doing in that space as well. So I hope this has been useful. Do leave a comment if you've been here, and lots of love to you. And I hope to see you online soon. Okay, bye for now.